Hi, Sharks. It is Financial Shark just here. Welcome to Money Monday. We are going to be talking about a hot topic this evening, a topic that is very near and dear to my current life. We are going to be talking about wedding planning, event planning, staying on budget. I'm here to answer all of your burning questions about it. I actually did have some people submit questions beforehand. Oh, and we have Irene here, who is a makeup artist that is featured in The Knot. She is tuning in live right now. So, Irene, if you know, please share any knowledge that you have, because this is a big one. It has been said that 2022 is the year of the wedding. And that is because everyone that wanted to get married in 2020, 2021 had to postpone their weddings, and they are finally getting married now in 2022. So things are getting booked up fast. Things are really expensive this year. Gas prices have gone up significantly, and those prices and the overhead costs for everyone are now being built in to the already overpriced costs of a wedding. Um, it is a beautiful time to be getting married. It is a difficult time to be getting married. Um, And not only are people getting married this year, but tons and tons and tons of people are getting engaged. So next year, we'll also see a huge boom as far as what's in the wedding industry. And I think you can count on the prices being similar, or um, if not, maybe a little bit less. We'll see how things go on, and we'll see how the world continues changing, because we're living in a very strange time. We have a war going on. We have, it's not even the news, but we have like terrorist attacks going on in Israel. We've got oh my gosh, we have like rising inflation here. We've got gas prices going crazy. We've got shortages of things. We've got another round of COVID happening. Actually, my sister, who lives in New York, she lives in Washington Heights. Her and her entire family have COVID yet again. So it hasn't disappeared. She said it's more like, like a cold, which we all kind of knew that it would start to fizzle out the way that viruses do. But it's still something to be said and something that people are scared of. And so weddings feel like they're changed right now. It was once so normal to have like a 300-person wedding, and that was like the norm, 100-person wedding. You don't have to have that anymore. If you are looking to do this on a budget, you can, even with inflation, even with prices being what they are. What you need to do is first have a discussion between yourself, your fiance, and if you do have help from your family for, if they are going to contribute in somehow, you need to have a discussion with them on what that looks like, and be really clear and really open and really honest about what are the things that you want. What are the things that are important to you in a wedding? Because that's the way to make sure that you get everything that that you get the wedding that you desire, without you having to put in the amount of money that will put you and your goals in a bad situation. So first, start off with a budget. How much are you looking to spend? And then once you have that, there are so many ways to keep you on that budget. I used an app called Wedding Happy, and I was able to input all of my data. I'm using it to track payments, when payments are due, how close I am to my budget. Am I going over budget? Am I under budget? I use it to track everything. So there are apps out there that can help you. You don't necessarily have to go with a spreadsheet. You don't have to go with something that feels low tech or it feels like you have a lot of manual input. The app that I use, you can literally search for your vendors, link their information, put when payments are due, and you have reminders about tasks that need to be done. So you can do a lot of the wedding planning yourself. By doing this, I saved myself the cost of a wedding planner. I have still decided that in order for me to be comfortable on my wedding day and not be freaking out and not be running around and like doing a million things and worrying about a million things, I still am hiring a day of coordinator. But because I had done all of the legwork myself, I have saved myself $1,200 on just that. Okay, so the first thing is figure out what your budget looks like, and then figure out ways to work within your budget. Another resource that has been instrumental for me are Facebook groups. So all of my decor, or the majority of my decor, is secondhand. I am a part of all these different wedding groups, and people buy all of this lavish stuff for their wedding, and then they have to resell it because what are they going to do with it after? There really is nothing that they can do with it unless they save it for other events. But chances are a lot of the stuff has to be resold. And so they go to Facebook, on Facebook. Um, I have gotten a lot of decor for free like that. People were just, I got it. I picked up a whole box of tulle for decor just on Friday. Like people are looking to get rid of it, especially if it's been sitting in their house for a while. So understand the look that you want to have. Understand what it is that you want for your wedding, and then make sure that you can do things to get that stuff on the cheap. The other thing that I did was there's actually Facebook groups for sales. There are specific ones about Amazon sales, specifically for wedding stuff. There are people that just go and they look for deals all the time. And I've bought some decor like that, where I looked for the sales, I looked through the Facebook groups, saw what was working for me, what I was into, and then I went and bought it on Amazon. So I am a big believer in community, in reaching out to your community, in seeing what's out there. There are so many things that I've posted just in like neighborhood groups of looking for something or another, and people have come. People have said, yeah, I have one. Come and pick it up. I have one. I'm going to give it to you for, less than I paid for it, because that's ultimately what you want. Another thing that I found were there are a lot of, as many wedding supply stores and wedding stuff as there are constantly people going out of business or growing and moving to new locations, and they don't want to take their stuff with them. I got all of my centerpieces, a cupcake display, for lack of a better word, it's like almost like a cupcake chandelier display, and trays and wooden boards and stuff for my bridal shower. I got it from a company that was expanding, and they decided to move to a new warehouse. They bought a lot of new stuff and didn't want to take the majority of the old stuff. So I went and I picked up what I wanted, and I got things that would normally cost several dollars to either rent or several dollars, like $10 each to buy. I got it for $1 or $2 just because they didn't want to ship it. I want to just chime in with Irene's advice for tulle. Hang your tulle upside down on a clip trouser hanger. Yeah, so with the stuff that you're getting from other places, yes, you may have to clean it. Yes, it may be a little bit wrinkled, but all of those things you can handle. All of those things are easy to fix. You can wash things out. You can steam things. You can iron things. With my wedding dress, you don't have to buy from a big bridal shop. That was one of the things that I learned early on. And there were so many horrible stories about David's Bridal, about other bridal shops. I had a horrible experience at David's Bridal. It was just like dingy and gross. And then I heard about and then they didn't measure me correctly. And I knew my measurements because I had gone to somewhere else before. And so I knew the measurements were off, and they were trying to sell me things that I had to buy extra stuff to put on underneath it because it was see-through. One of the only dress that I liked at David's Bridal, I remember being like, you can see my whole crotch. And I am wearing white panties and I can still see my crotch. That's not okay. And so their answer was to buy another skirt, a non-breathable fabric, and put it on underneath. And I was just like, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to spend over $1,000 on a dress just to have to buy more pieces of things to put underneath. There are tons of people on Facebook reselling their dresses. There are tons of websites where you can resell your dress or buy resold dresses. And then there are little boutique shops, which is where I bought my dresses. So let me explain to you what happened. I went to a beautiful bridal store. It had a bunch of locations. It was a very big name, and fell in love with this Pronovia's gown. And I was told they had it in stock. They were going to send it to me. Of course, there was only 6 left, this being the year of the wedding. And I had to order it right then. And had to wait for it to get there. So I, of course, did not fold to the pressure. I said, I'm going to go home and think about this. And then I went to David's Bridal the next day, didn't see anything else I liked, decided, you know what, I'm going to go for that first dress. Went back, paid 50% down on it. It was more than I had expected to pay. It was something that I really loved. It was still within my budget, but I felt like, when I first saw the price, I was like, whoa, I didn't expect that I'd be paying this. And then on top of it, it still needed some alterations. So I was like, I don't know how this is going to be, but I love the dress. I'm going to go for it. And I did. Luckily for me, or unluckily at first, I was told it was going to be there in 4 weeks. I called after 2.5 weeks just to see when it was going to get there so I could schedule my alterations. At that time, I was told, don't worry about it. It's coming. It'll be here any day. Don't call us. We'll call you. When they said that, I started to get nervous because it was the first time I had called. And why are you telling me not to call and check on my dress when it should be there? I waited a week, called again. Nobody knows where the dress is. Again, it's going to be here any day. Don't worry about it. I called the next day to speak to somebody else. They don't know where my dress is. The dress has not been shipped. So I asked for a manager. They tell me, we're sorry. The dress hasn't been shipped yet. It's not going to ship until March. It will, and mind you, I ordered it in January. It's not going to ship until March. it won't be here till April. You're still going to be okay. You're going to have enough time to do alterations. I was like, all right, put it in writing. Because at this point, I don't believe them. They have been telling me for 4 weeks that the dress had shipped, and turns out it never shipped at all. I don't trust anything. I'm going to ask for things in writing. Always get things in writing. That is something also Irene shared with me. She said, make sure that things are written a certain way so that you end up getting your deposits back and stuff like that. So Irene can share a little bit more about that if she's still on here. But so I got it in writing. I asked the manager to send me an email stating when my dress would arrive and giving me that guarantee. I get a phone call the next day. Was it the next day? It might have even been like 2 hours later that no, they just changed it. The dress will not ship in March. The dress will ship in mid-April, and will not get there until after my wedding. And I was like, no, that's not okay. That's not what we had in writing. This dress was non-refundable. I was told, if you can't have that dress as long as you don't do alterations, then we can take that money and put it towards another dress. At this point, I do not give my money to people that lie, cheat, or steal, and I make a point of that. So what I did was like, no, I had it in writing. You promised me something. I would like a full refund. I got my full refund, went to this neighborhood shop, a small boutique called SOS Wedding Dress, who the way that her business runs is that when other bridal shops close down, they've got dresses left. What happens to those dresses? She buys them, and then, a lot of them she buys, some of them she consigns, but basically they're brand new dresses, never been worn, but she has them in her store for way cheaper because these people are just trying to recoup on some money that they've lost. They've already closed down their business. So she has an entire place full of one-off unique dresses that you can take off the rack. I went to her and I ended up getting 3 dresses for $1,000 less than I had paid for the original dress, for the original one dress. And so I felt really good about it. Like, this was my chance, to have the wedding that I wanted to have those costume changes. Because for me, I'm a little bit extra and I am going to want to do that extra. That was important for me. I want to have a dress for the reception that I can sit and eat in. I want to have a party dress, and I was able to get all of those things. The reason is that I had that I knew what parts of the wedding were important to me. What parts of the wedding were important to me, my fiance. And so by doing that, by figuring out what were the things that mattered the most about us, we could put our budget to those things. Another big part of our budget is the fact that it's a destination wedding, right? So we needed places to stay. And for me, travel is one of the things that I allow myself to spend money on, because that's the experiences are something that are important to me. So that was a big part of our budget. The actual ceremony. So this, I want to actually go, I have a few questions that were sent in. So one of these is, how do you host a reception without getting ripped off by wedding places and pulling your hair out, DIYing everything? Another tip from Irene. First of all, read your contracts. Yes, read your contracts, know them, understand them. Understand what is the cancellation fee, what are the change fees, understand every piece of it. The contracts are super, super important. read it with every single vendor with a fine-tooth comb. And the second thing Irene told me is always sit in your dress at your alterations. Make sure that you can move in it the way that you want to move in it. Okay, so going back to the question, how to host a reception without getting ripped off by wedding places and pulling your hair out, DIYing everything. Okay, so receptions. You do not need to have a big reception hall in order to make it look beautiful. First of all, if you get married on a day of the week instead of a weekend, it's going to be cheaper. Also, you can use other places as reception spaces. If you know someone that has a beautiful backyard, rent it from them. If you know parks that allow it, I've seen people in Phoenix get married at the Japanese Friendship Garden, get married at a park pavilion. Oh my gosh, in Sedona, there's a beautiful park pavilion called the Passe Grounds Pavilion. I unfortunately was unable to rent it, but I wanted to rent it so bad. It is a beautiful scene. They only cost like $300 to do a wedding there. You have to bring in all the stuff, but really the space rental is not thousands and thousands of dollars like other places will make you pay. It's a couple $100. I think it was like $200 or $300. I unfortunately was unable to rent it because I'm getting married on Memorial Day, which is kind of a, like, because it is a public park and a public facility, they need to have their people handling the sound system because there's a stage and everything. And so their people are off. All of their employees are off for Memorial Day, so they could not accommodate. But places like that, you can have a gorgeous reception in a gorgeous public space, a gorgeous park, and it can be done affordably and it can be done beautifully. There are local barns. There are all different types of event spaces. You do not have to go to restaurants and halls. I say look at who you know, and again, Facebook groups are a great place to go to look for ideas. There are so many Facebook groups dedicated to weddings on a budget. You just tell them where you're located and what you're looking for, and you will be able to find something. I have found so much information on these groups. Okay, so pulling your hair out, DIYing stuff. Again, all of these, there are so many places where you can rent stuff, right? So you can go and have so what I'm doing is I am having a ceremony outside in the park in Sedona in the national, a national park. It's a forestry. There are forestry rules, so it's going to be a little bit of a different ceremony. But it was important for me to be in nature amongst the red rocks in Sedona. That's how I got engaged. And that is where I feel super comfortable and happy and joyous. You want to pick things that mean something to you, that feel happy to you, because this time is so stressful. There are so many things going on. I am having a small wedding, a micro wedding, under 25 people. And I am still stressed out all the time planning it. It's the nature of things, and things are changing so much all the time that, that's what happens. So you don't have to DIY everything. You can rent stuff. You can also buy things that other people have DIY'd. You don't have to be the DIYer. You can buy it from someone else that DIY'd and now has nothing to do with their stuff. Some of the things that, Also Etsy. I have gotten a ton of wedding stuff on Etsy. My flowers, which that is a whole other story, which is kind of a crazy story that I'll share with you. I bought my flowers in January. They're gorgeous polymer clay, not real flowers, because that was not important to me. What was important to me was that my favorite flowers were included, and then the way they looked. And I wanted a kind of a succulent, deserty feel, but with vibrancy. I found this beautiful shop on Etsy that sells them, and I ordered them in January. Turns out that shop is in Russia. So I am currently still waiting for my flowers to arrive because, as we know, there is a war going on between Russia, and Ukraine. Russia has a ton of sanctions on it because they were an aggressor. So that's one of the stressful things in my wedding where I keep checking up on it. It was actually, it's been about a month en route to me. And it just cleared the international export area of Russia. We will see where it went next. It's been kind of a crazy time, but those flowers. I was able to buy a beautiful, huge bouquet, a crown, corsages, boutonnieres, everything for way, way cheaper than using those wood flowers or using fresh flowers from a florist. I do have backup in case. Yes. So Irene, I do have a plan B just in case. I have two plan Bs. One is go to either, so right around my house, I have a Michael's, a Hobby Lobby, and a Joann's. And they have coupons all the time and they're running sales all the time. Anytime I go shopping for wedding stuff, I look for coupons. That's another big thing. If you're going to these craft stores, they have coupons all of the time. Use them. I have bought so many things, especially Joann's. I love Joann's coupons. They have like 40% off, 50% off. And you can, it's one per, you can use the coupon one time per order or per purchase. So I will go in and use the coupon and split up my purchases into 5 separate receipts and use the coupon on every single one. They don't care. Take advantage of that stuff. Definitely use coupons. So I am going to either DIY myself a fake bouquet and fake boutonnieres and corsages and whatever else I decide to have. Or plan C is, if I don't find anything I like there, or if I feel like it's getting too expensive, I am going to go to Costco. And Costco has beautiful, fresh flowers for very inexpensive prices. And you can put yourself together something beautiful. I've seen, now that I've been on all of these websites and all of these Facebook groups, I've seen some amazing stuff that people do. I will tell you another big thing. Trader Joe's is great for flowers as well, Irene says. Another huge thing is all of your decor, you can DIY easily. So I made all these beautiful wedding signs that people have, and they want it on like acrylic glass, or they have like beautiful stuff, beautiful frames, and they put it on mirrors, and you can DIY all of that stuff. And what I did was I found beautiful frames at the dollar store, paid $1.25 each, bought 8x10 paper on Amazon, or you could buy it at a craft store or any store. Some of them are photo paper. Don't get the photo paper, get the regular paper. I made all of my signs on Canva and then printed them out. I also am going to have a huge wedding sign. So a lot of people have that huge welcome to my wedding sign on an easel. I am getting it done at a local print shop, and they actually found me a material that I could use, which is kind of like, you know, when realtors have for sale signs, it's almost like this very nice looking, like a foam plastic type fabric, like that, that type of material. They're able to do like a 3-foot sign for like $30 or $40. Not a couple of hundred. You just bring them what to write and they'll write it for you. Those so we're having like morning foam core, that's what it is. Irene's just on it. She knows everything. I wish you were here, Irene. Or I was in New York. You could have helped me with all of this. I've been doing a lot of research. So guys, if you got any questions, throw them to me because I'm like on it. So another thing that we're doing is morning after. I have a photo shoot. So another thing that I did was I was looking for a photographer for a while, and I had applied for all of these different free photography sessions. And after I put my money down on my photographer, I actually qualified. I won a free wedding photography. So I'm using it on the day after my wedding because the experience and the location is something that's super important to me. I'm using it on a styled shoot all around Sedona the following day. I did not want to give up my previous photographer because I really, really liked her. She was from the area. She was a sure thing, right? I had booked her. I had put down my deposit, my retainer, the whole thing. And this other photographer is doing it for free, and they are doing it. They are not in Arizona. They are in Arkansas. And so I wasn't sure, like, I'm sure they're going to show up, but I also don't want to bank on it. And having those memories is really, really important to me. So I decided to use it as a styled shoot. The other thing that we're doing is we're having like morning after clothes, right? What I did, again, I found a local print shop. I designed the t-shirts myself on Canva, and I'm getting them printed up. There's so many people selling stuff all over on Etsy. If you can find it and it's within your budget, do that. If this is just like another add-on that you want and you want to be able to do it on the cheap, don't be afraid to use Canva and design it yourself. And I was able to design something so completely perfect for my fiance and I. I picked all of the things that mattered to me, and then I made sure that I found a way to fit it into my budget. It was super important for me to put everything in the app as I spent the money, as I made the contracts. I put it into the app and I made sure that it fit into my budget before I did it. And if it didn't fit into my budget, I figured out a way to make it fit. I figured out a way to do it more affordably. Let's see what is the next. So find reception sites that are local, that are parks, that are botanical gardens, that are areas that you do not have to pay an arm and a leg. Let's see. Alternative venues for budget-friendly brides. You can find officiants online. You can find all different types of things. Figure out what the style is of your wedding, and then figure out how you could do that. So if it's rustic, look at barns, look at local farms. They are hurting for money, and they would love to allow you to, post up over there. And like, there are so many I have to say there are so many different farms and even people with backyards that are looking for extra ways to make more money in this economy. Speak to them, see what they can do, see if you can use their location as your venue. Let's see. Another question was the areas to actually invest in to have a beautiful wedding on a budget, the areas that matter the most and that guests notice. Okay. Here, this one is difficult because it depends on what is important to you, right? So figure out the things that matter to you in your wedding and then invest in those areas. Work with local companies, work with small companies that will give you deals. So an area that matters to a lot of people is food. Now, I cannot tell you how many weddings that I've been to where the food was $60, $80, $150 a person, and the food was subpar. Okay? Let's just be honest. The food was not memorable. What about a restaurant that you like? Can you contact them and ask if they have a catering menu? You don't need, if you're having a smaller wedding like me, or even if you're having a larger wedding, you don't necessarily need to go with that venue's food place unless they're forcing you to go with their preferred vendors. But chances are, if they're forcing you to go with preferred vendors, you are not getting a good deal. What I'm doing for my wedding is I am having family style food. I have a restaurant that I really like that has a full vegan menu, and that is super important for me. Again, there have been people that have told me, like, you need to have non-vegan food at your wedding. That doesn't sit well with me. My wedding is a day about me. It is a day about you. It is a day about whoever. Honestly, it's your day, your future spouse's day. What you guys want matters. What everybody else cares about, wants, does not matter. And when you recognize that and when you internalize that, things change, right? You do you for your wedding. I refuse to pay for people to eat non-vegan food at my wedding. I want my wedding to be filled with things that I can enjoy. I do not want to have things at my wedding. I do not want to pay for animals to be hurt at my wedding. So that was very important to me, and I made sure that that was taken care of. So I went to a restaurant that I know that has a full vegan menu, and they had an event and catering menu. Now, here's a huge tip. When you go to places, you do not have to tell them it is for a wedding. As soon as you say the words, "It's for my wedding," the price doubles. You say it is for an event. When you say it is for an event, they give you the regular prices. You say it's for a wedding, it becomes wedding prices. So say you're trying to have an event. It is an event. Nobody has to know it's a wedding. So I went to their event menu. I did not go to their wedding menu. I went to their event menu and I was able to pick out stuff. And my original caterer, so everything in this wedding, understand that if you're doing it on a budget, you need to be flexible, okay? Original caterer decided that she wanted to go on vacation for 2 months and she canceled my my food at my wedding. Now, I was originally going to pay way more money. I was going to pay like $65 a person for vegan food, but it was like also like kosher vegan food. I decided that was not worth it anymore if she was not going to be doing it. That was not worth it for me anymore. She all of a sudden was like raising her prices after I had already had an agreement with her. And I decided to go with this other restaurant and do it family style where everyone comes and serves themselves. You can also hire waiters and waitresses on your own. There are companies that just do that just hire out waitresses and waiters. So make sure that it is food that you find delicious. There you can get food trucks. You can get like food vendors from different farmers markets, things like that. Local businesses, small businesses are going to work with you. So make sure that they're the people that you reach out to. So you can get beautiful like silverware, dishes, stuff like that. The big things that I would make sure that you have that are really good is your food, make sure you love it. Your cake, make sure you love it. That is a memorable thing. Your photos. Yes, Irene, your photos capture your memories. Do not skimp on your photographer. You can shop around. Do not skimp on it. Make sure that you like the style of their photos and that you see their work. Make sure that they have testimonials of people that have actually worked with them, and then see what you can get within the deal. A lot of them give out a free engagement session, or in my case, I had already done my engagement session. My engagement session was done by a photographer that was just starting out and wanted to get her portfolio built up. And great photographer. She did amazing photos, but I only paid a few $100s for them. I paid like $250 and I got something like 200 photos, all edited. They were beautiful. So you can find really talented photographers for less expensive. But if you do want to make sure that your memories are safe, and you don't need to order wedding albums. Don't worry about wedding albums. You can make your own wedding album on like Shutterfly. Just get the digital images. Yes, another thing, make sure that you look the way and feel the way that you want to feel. Hair, makeup artist. If Irene was here, I would be using her in a heartbeat. I literally asked her over text message if she was going to be free because I might fly her out to Arizona just for my wedding. Like, makeup artist, hair, make sure that you do a trial with them. 100% make sure that you do a trial, that you get references. Yeah, if I had not found the makeup artist that I'm going to be using, I would be flying Irene out right now. I ended up finding someone. I drove all of the way because I'm getting married in Sedona and it's 2.5 hours away. I literally got an Airbnb in Flagstaff for the night, which is 40 minutes away from Sedona, and that's where my makeup artist lives. I literally got an Airbnb for one night to go to check out all the stuff that I had rented from the company it's in a place called Cottonwood, which is right next to Sedona, and do my makeup trial. If it had not, like, it was gorgeous and she is super affordable, and I'm super thankful that I found her. How did I find her? Facebook groups. Facebook groups are your friend. I cannot stress this enough. Like, we're in a Facebook group right now, some of us, in the Righteous Revenue Facebook group. Like, they are a wealth of knowledge. Your greatest asset is the people that you surround yourself with. They have experience, they have knowledge. Tap into the knowledge around you because it'll be so much easier than you doing all the research yourself. So yes, hair, makeup, your dress, you can go low cost on all of these things, but make sure that it does not feel like you're skimping on it. Make sure that it still feels amazing. Suit. So my fiance, we chose not to go the tux route because we're just not tux people. My fiance got a beautiful suit bought outright. We did not have to rent anything, and he can use it multiple times. And we spent about, in total, probably around $400, a little bit more now with shoes. But let's say $450 total for the entire outfit. That's including tax and everything. You can get beautiful things for very low cost. You can get quality things that feel good, look good, everything for low cost. My favors. Okay, this is another thing. So those are the big stuff, right? There are all this other little stuff that we tell each other that we need to have, right? Wedding favors, this, that. I again went to small businesses. I found these beautiful laser cut magnets on Etsy. Those are my favors, and these beautiful little soaps, again on Etsy. I was able to get them not expensive. They are beautiful. They make sense for my wedding. Whatever you want to do, make sure it fits with your theme. Make sure it fits with who you are. Make sure that it feels like you and your partner. If things don't feel authentic, if it doesn't feel like you, it's not going to be a beautiful day for you. You want to make sure that you get the things that speak to your heart. Let's see. What else? Okay, another question. How do you manage all of the vendor payments? Again, get an app. Get it right now. You can use the Wedding Happy app. The Knot has its own app. There's so many apps out there. I personally use Wedding Happy. I also use something called With Joy to do my invitation. So that's another big thing, another huge thing that people spend their money on. We are in a different age now, right? You do not need to send out paper invitations if you don't want to. If that doesn't fit with you, I mean, I am a digital person. Like, I do as much as I can possibly to not use paper, because I'm in an industry that uses paper all the time, and I try to get away from it. I don't want to kill that many trees. I didn't feel like I needed to have an invitation sent to each person. It is so ridiculously expensive. We're talking about like $15 a person, and that's cheaply. You can do, if you still want paper invitations, Canva is amazing. Once again, Zazzle is pretty damn great as well. You can do low-cost invitations. You can design it all on Canva. You can print it out on Canva. You can get it with envelopes and everything on Canva. DIY, but DIY smart. I decided no invitations. I'm doing all digital on a website called With Joy. I got an entire wedding website put up, registry and all. And another thing I'm doing is the registry is not important to me because I recently moved into a beautiful townhouse and bought all of my own furniture and bought all of my stuff here. So I did not need anything. What I did do, and what you can do, is Venmo and PayPal registries. It's totally fine to ask for money. It is totally fine to have a honeymoon fund instead of a registry. People understand that weddings are expensive, and sometimes you just need to recoup back some of that cost that you put in. That's totally fine to have that. But use the digital products. Use the wedding app to take care of your payments. Make sure that you read all your contracts, that you write down all of the full amounts right away. Put the dates that they're due by, put the dates that you paid, put everything in that app so that you make sure, or if you're going to do it on a spreadsheet, do it on a spreadsheet, but do it right then and there. You need something. We have our phones on us all the time. Do it on your phone. Do not wait until that evening, that night when you're going to forget about it. Do it when it happens. Make sure that you are giving retainers and not deposits. Yes, that was something that Irene taught me. Make sure that all of your contracts say retainer and not deposit. Okay. The next question was, when your partner just wants to elope. Oh, how do you deal with when your partner just wants to elope because they can't justify paying for a big reception? And how do you handle money conversations with your fiance? Okay, this is a huge one. Money is uncomfortable. Make sure that you are not in an uncomfortable situation when you bring up the topic. I want you guys to be loving and happy and not under pressure when you start this conversation. I want you guys to be enjoying a beautiful meal. I want you guys to be going on a hike. I want you guys to be doing something that makes you feel good. Sitting out by the pool if you want. But you have to be super open and honest about what your expectations are, how much money you are willing to put into it, and what are the things that, if you do want to elope, what are the things that you'd be missing out on? And are you comfortable with that? Because as much as it is your day, it is their day too. Make sure that both of your needs are getting met in the way that they need to be met. Have those conversations, have them often. Check in, because sometimes with all of this stuff, it gets stressful and then we just start rolling forward and barreling forward and not caring about the other person and just like going into this cycle, this like vicious cycle of just like being in control and figuring it out and taking care of things, and like we forget about the other person in it. So make sure that you are including the other person and the way that they feel about things, and what is important to them, and keep checking in on it. Remember that you guys are a team and that you are going into this together. Money, after you get married, money is a very important thing that you need to be discussing on a regular basis. You are in this together now. You are joined. If you're coming into the marriage with assets, either party or both parties, think about getting a prenup. Prenup does not mean that you are going to get divorced. It has nothing to do with the outcome of how long you last together. It is about being responsible and understanding that you need to protect your assets. And if you come into the relationship having that honest discussion and saying, this is mine, this is yours, this is ours. If you decide that in advance, it actually lends itself to a way healthier marriage. It is the people that get prenups. There have been studies showing that the people that get prenups are the type of people that are less likely to get divorced. Why? Because they've had these discussions. And if they do get divorced, they're not going to come at it in a, like, there's nothing to fight over. It's not going to be ugly. It is going to be, we have already figured this out. And we figured it out at a time where we were both happy together. So you know it's going to be fair. Okay? So talk about money openly, honestly, be transparent, have real boundaries on how much you're going to spend and what are the things that are important to you in the wedding. And good luck. If you've got any questions, if you're watching this now, if you're watching this on the replay, if you've got any questions for me, if you have any questions for Irene, our wealth of knowledge, I will be here to answer them. You can find this video on YouTube. You can find this video on my Facebook page, Financial Shark just Galit Sadiq. You can find this video in the Righteous Revenue Fishbowl group. I'm here. I am open to answering questions. I want to hear about your wedding plans. When did you get engaged? How did you get engaged? How are you paying for your wedding? Who is helping? Oh, another thing I just want to say, because I've been hearing this so much. Sometimes when you take money from people that are helping you plan the wedding, so like your parents or family members, they want to decide how that money is spent. If that does not align with your vision of the wedding, be prepared to do a wedding without their money. I know that's like a hard thing to hear. Be prepared to do it on your own. It is not like the older times. It is not like back when like your parents were responsible for paying for your wedding. Weddings were different then. Weddings were less expensive. People were not struggling as hard. People were younger getting married. Now, really think about like you being able to do it on your own. And if somebody else gives you money, then great. If not, be prepared to do it on your own and don't fault anyone else for not being able to give. Everyone gives what they are able to give. And if that money comes with strings, sometimes you don't want it. So please keep that in mind when you're going through, your wedding planning and your budgeting. Another thing is if you know that your wedding is far off, right? One of the first things you do is you set a date. Set a date and then figure out a plan to save up to your budget. If you want a budget that is outside of what you have in your pocket right now, I don't want you to have to take out loans. What I want you to do is figure out how much you need weekly in order to save to reach that budget amount. If you want to know how to do that, I am here. I am available for you. I will tell you how to do that. Just reach out to me. I'm still doing my 30-minute financial project planning sessions. You can use it for things like this. You can use it for money in your business and like figuring out your books, because we're in tax season and I'm still rolling with that, right? I got bookkeeping spots open. I have virtual CFO spots open. I've got coaching spots open. And then I can just help you with small things. And I'm happy to give up my time to do that. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. My Money Mondays are going to be live here every single week. If you've been watching on Facebook and in my Facebook group, I'm here every week for you. I will answer your questions if you send them to me in advance, like someone did today, or you can come in and ask them while we're going, or you can always watch on the replay and I will answer any questions you have. Please have an amazing, amazing night. We went super long tonight because there's so much to tell. If you've got any questions, if you want me to do another session on this, if you got married, if you just got married, if you just got engaged, if you know somebody that just got engaged and you want them to listen in, please share this. I come here to give of my knowledge. I do these lives because I want to help, because I want to share, because I need to share my experiences, and I need to share, and I need to make a difference in the world. Another thing that's happening is my Galit Speaks podcast is live every Wednesday. Please check that out. You can see it live on YouTube, my Galit Speaks YouTube page. You can also see it live on Galit Speaks, my Facebook page. And then it gets put on Anchor. So subscribe to that as well. I would love for you to understand and hear everything that I have to say, not just on money, but understand, like the last two sessions, the last two podcast episodes were super open and vulnerable for me. And I cried, but I was telling my story and why I do what I do and why I want to share my knowledge and why I want to speak. And I always felt like I was the person to give a voice to the voiceless. So I'm trying to be that voice. Please share it with everyone so that I can be that voice and give the voice to the voiceless. Have an amazing night, everyone. Happy Money Monday. Good luck in all of your planning. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.